If you want to stop losing at chess and win more games, watch this video. All right, this guy's 23-44. Let's go e5. It's a picture of defense, and he's playing the two knights. So let's go bishop b4, hit the knight, knight d5. I don't really see this move a lot, but I think the move is to pull the bishop back, put some pressure on f2, keep attacking e4, and then if knight takes, I have queen takes, and I'm fine. Pawn to c6 is also coming, and I should not be afraid of losing the e-pawn because I should be able to take and then castle. Pawn to d4, definitely going to be taking here. Well, if I take, then there's bishop g5, so I need to be careful. Yeah, I need to be careful here. Yeah, it's fine. Let's just take. If bishop g5, I'll just pull back to e7. Like, I'm not losing, but there should be knight takes e7, and he could say he has the bishop here, so it's still kind of tricky. After knight takes, queen takes, pawn push, there's no pawn push though, because I'm able to play pawn to h6. So he decided to take, and do I take on e4 first with check? And then if the bishop block, I take? Nah, he's just gonna cast land. It's a weird position. Let's just take on f6. The position is gonna be equal. He took with his queen, and I'm basically gonna be taking here, and we're already in an endgame, basically. But the good thing is I'm playing with the black pieces, so it's good if I'm able to equalize the game. Knight to c6 here runs into knight b5, which applies pressure to c7. If I castle, knight b5, I should be able to play knight a6, but that will be annoying. So I'm actually going to play a6, so that way the knight is not able to get to b5. Now that he plays knight to f5, he's attacking g7. But now I'm just going to castle, and if he checks, I move. If he takes, he's going to take the bishop, but my bishop has not developed as yet, so I should not mind something like that. So let's just castle the king. Check, I move. If he takes, I take back, and I'm fine. But he decided to castle first, which means if I develop my knight, he takes my bishop, then take the pawn. So I have to play pawn to d6 first, and I'm assuming he's going to take. I'm just going to take back. And again, it's just a regular equal ending. So bishop c4 attacks f7. I still have to be careful. Let's play king to g8 to guard it. I mean, I think he has better development than me, though. I'm not going to lie. If e5, I'm probably just going to take. Otherwise, knight c6 prevents e5. And then I'm just going to be putting my rook on the e file. And then it's just going to be endgame strength. So the thing is, at the higher level, is it's just the better endgame player if nobody blunders in the opening. And bishop d5 is interesting because if I go knight c6, he's probably going to want to double up my pawns, which I shouldn't be too scared of that actually, but I'm actually thinking of just playing rook a7 to guard the pawn and then play knight d7 to f6 just to chase out the bishop that way. But my rook is not going to be doing anything on a7, so let's just play knight c6. If he wants to take and give up his bishop, that's on him. I mean, I am going to have a double pawn, so I'm not going to be acting like I'm better or anything. I think it's just going to be an equal position. But I think he's trying to draw the game because he's 23-44 and I'm 2400. So it's still not going to be an easy game to win. And now he plays pawn e5, which means if I take, he immediately gets access to my 7th rank. And that should not be worth it. So I'm going to play. Let's think about it. If I takes, the rook gets access to my 7th rank. If I play rook to d8, he takes, I take, and then this rook comes here. Yeah, that's fine. Let's go rook to d8. Still nothing is happening. I don't know how I'm going to be winning this game, but let's see. Like, he basically got exactly what he wanted. Very equal position, no weaknesses. Now he wants to take and then get this rook to my 7th rank. So I'm going to play king to f8 to protect my 7th rank. And I don't think I'm ever going to be taking on e5. But then he plays pawn to e6, which means now my d6 pawn is fine. Now I'm thinking of takes, rook over, and then just trade one pair of rooks off the board. Or do I just play rook over, and then if he takes, I play king takes. It's not a huge difference. It's definitely not a huge difference. Takes, rook over. Maybe rook over, takes, king up. Let's just play rook over. Let's just play rook over. He has to take. I'm gonna take, and then if he takes, I take like this. My a6 pawn is gonna be my weakest pawn though, but I'm gonna have. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna have access to his second rank, but he's gonna have to watch out for his second rank. Basically, It's a weird game. It's gonna be hard to win this. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna try to win, but it's gonna be hard. And what he's doing is actually correct. He's trying to advance his pawn majority. It's 3 versus 2. If I play king to f6, there's pawn g4, pawn h5, pawn h3. But let's go for it. King activity is crucial in the end game, so I'm gonna try to activate my king in some way. If pawn g4, I play pawn h5, and then if he takes, I'm fine. He's also activating his king. So let's play king to f5. Again, king activity is very crucial in the end game. Pawn to g3, and I'm actually thinking of playing king to g4 here. It's a bit reckless though, I'm not gonna lie, because I could also get my king checkmated, but I have to take some form of risk if I want to win this game. So let's go for that. I'm going for the pawns. King activity is very important, and we're also trying to attack the pawns. The only slight downside is I think the rooks are just going to be staying on the back rank for a while, because if I ever takes and then he takes, he's going to automatically get access to my 7th rank, unless I'm able to like take and then immediately put that rook on f7. But I'm not really seeing the possibility of that. Pawn to h3 is interesting. If I take the pawn, he checks. I take another pawn. Oh, and then he checks. If I take this pawn, however, he checks. Then I take this pawn, and then he takes, and that's a fork. Oh, that was not a bad move. If I takes, he checks. Okay, I takes, he checks, and then I'm not gonna take this pawn just yet. I'm gonna go back. And then if he takes, attacking this pawn, I play rook to e7 to guard it. And this is still going to be under attack, assuming he's going to try to check me again, and not sure. But let's go for that. I think that complicates the game the best. So king g4, he takes this pawn, and then I play here and guard this pawn, and then I'm able to activate this rook. And then I'm also trying to double up the rooks and get my rook to e7. Because it's quite clear that he's playing for a draw. Now I go here, guarding my pawn, threatening to double up. His pawns are still under attack, but I'm just not rushing to take them. So he plays rook to g1, which makes a lot of sense. Now I play rook to e8, and then he plays rook g2. Now I'm thinking of pawn to g5. Pawn g5 takes, 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 king takes. And then my plan from there is to try to win his g3 pawn, which still probably going to be a draw. What if I play king to f3 here? King f3 attacks the rook. King f3 attacks the rook. Rook to h2 simply guards the rook, though. That's the thing. Or do I play g6 and then trade like this, then try to play king f3? I think that will make the most sense. Yeah, let's go for that. Let's go g6. I don't think he needs to trade, or he should trade. I think he should play something like rook h6. But the time is also running out, so I don't want to try to be too fancy and then lose on time. I would prefer for him to take, so because his king is already cut off, it's going to be easier to target his pawns. But if he plays rook h6, then I'm probably going to just maybe play king f3, or just rook e6. I'm not really sure, but let's see. So he did play king h6. Let me try king to f3 first. Let me see what happens if I go king h3. Okay, that's what happens. Because he doesn't want me to push this. That doesn't do much. If he pushes, I take. So let me just start advancing my pawns. I'm not sure which one to advance first, but usually they say you should push the one without the counterpart, which is this one. The one without the counterpart is basically the one that has no pawns in front of it. I'm trying to play c5 next. Maybe he plays b4, but b4 will give me some targets to attack. Like, in order to try and win this game, I'm trying to draw him out, Like, I want him to try to play for the win, or start advancing his pawns and then create some weaknesses. Then I try to win. That's the plan. But my king is just so active. I like my king's placement. It's super active here. There's also rook to e1 that I forgot to play. So he checks here. If I take on g3, then it's definitely drawn. So I have to go here. He checks, I go here. So let's go here. Once I'm not getting mated, I'm fine. If he checks, I'm actually gonna take. Probably. No. If he checks, takes, maybe rook here, or just rook back is drawn. I'm not sure, to be honest, but I'm just trying to squeeze water out of a rock. Rook to e3. Rook e3 is very interesting. Rook e3 hits the pawn. So he puts the rook on g2. Rook e3 hits the pawn. If he checks the king, I go back. Um, then what? Not seeing it. Still not seeing it. If I push, he takes, and generally the winning side doesn't want to be trading pawns. And I'm not saying I'm winning. I just want to win. And if you want to win, you shouldn't be trading pawns. So let's go c5. I have to play faster though. I just have to play faster. I have a little pawn majority in the center of the board, but so he's attacking my pawn, which makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna do the same little idea. King f3 hits the pawn, so he kind of has to go back. Oh, he went that way. I'm able to check here though. What? Wait, what the wait? Check if king up that's mate. So he had to go back. I think that's a slight inaccuracy. Let's say I play rook f2, he takes, and then put one rook here. He starts pushing his pawns. I take. Oh, yo, this could be a checkmate though. That's the thing. Rook f2, he takes. Rook e2, he pushes, and then check, king over check, king over check, king over. Oh my god, I'm gonna try it. I'm actually gonna try it. Let's go for it. That's the thing, man. Like, if you're trying to win games, you have to just risk losing. Because the moment he takes this pawn, he has two connected pass pawns. But I'm just going for the fact that I have two rooks on his second rank. His king is cut off, and obviously he has that move. So if I takes, king takes, okay, it has to be this. It has to be this. Takes, king takes. If I takes, he takes, and I probably gonna lose. So let's take this pawn. So take this pawn. If he takes this pawn, I take another pawn. And then he needs to start pushing his pawns. And I'm probably gonna, oh, he took another pawn. But then I'm gonna take this pawn though. I don't think he needed to do that. I think he needed to keep his, I think he needed to keep his pass pawns, but this is probably drawn. So he started to push the pawn, which is the right thing to do. King here push, king here threatens mate, but then he checks. So that doesn't work. And if I go here, he checks. Hmm. I have to get my rook behind the pawn though. That's the thing. How do I get my rook behind the pawn? And he's gonna play rook to c6 as well. So it's if king here push, okay, I have to play. I have to play. Rook b4. He's gonna probably try this. Yeah, it's drawn. It's funny because I could possibly even lose this. The pass pawn is just very fast. Rook here, push. He push. I'm trying to find a way to try to win. I'm just not seeing it. If rook here, I check up takes, he takes. Okay, so check king up, check king move, takes, rook takes. It's drawn. Yeah, I have to go for this line because it's drawn. And it's best if I'm able to just get rid of all his pawns, to be honest. Now he's going to take and guard his pawn. Okay, I have to play for the draw. Actually, have to play for the draw because I'm the one with 40 seconds on the clock. So if he takes, I play king back and then I take and it's drawn. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's hard to win. I'm gonna take here though. He's gonna attack and then I'm gonna take. He's also, I think he's gonna try to win on time, which is gonna be very sad. I'm just gonna have to maybe do a lot of pre-moving. Wait, do I push? Nah, let's just take. Yeah, let's just take. It's drawn. The guy was playing for a draw from move one. Like I couldn't help it. He was playing for a draw from move one. Yeah, it's drawn. This one is 23-57. Let's go e4. I need to win a game. It's hard to win with these type of ratings. Let's hit the pawn. He guards it. We're playing an Italian game, and I think I need to start playing faster. He attacks the pawn. Pawn to d3 guards it, and then pawn h6. I don't know. Pawn h6 is not usually what they should be doing. But let me just get my king out the center of the board first. And then I'm going to play for like the c3, d3 idea. So pawn to d6. I need to be aware of knight a5. So let's go pawn c3. And then I'm going to try. Oh, okay. This is what he's doing. I'm not afraid of this though. Especially since I didn't play pawn h3. It's not as useful if I don't play pawn h3. I'm going to play rook e1 first to guard the pawn. And then my plan from here is actually to get the knight around. But he plays pawn to g4 very quickly. This is kind of weird, actually. Knight h4, if he sack, queen takes is something. So let's just pull the knight back to d2. I'm definitely going to be winning this game. This is the definition of a premature attack. You see how the pawns are coming? It's premature. I'm not afraid. Let's play knight back to f1 so that way I'm able to develop. And usually whenever someone is attacking you on the king side, you want to counterattack in the center. I like the idea of bishop g5 here, but then there's always going to be bishop e7. There's also queen b3. Queen b3. Yeah, queen b3, queen e7, bishop g5, knight a5. Pawn d4 may not do too much because he's probably just not going to take. So I just need to get all my pieces active. Let's go bishop g5 first. Maybe he's going to play bishop e7, and then I'm just going to play knight d2. Like, I'm not going to try to win the game. Like, he's actually trying to win the game very quickly. I'm not going to try to do that. I didn't see rook to h5, though. That's a very nice move. But I'm assuming I have to play something like queen to d2. Queen d2, there's knight e4. So let's go queen c1. Yeah, queen c1, guard the bishop. I have to be careful. And no, I can't play knight d2 because my bishop is just on a weird square. So he plays bishop g7. And I'm trying to either counterattack in the center or on the queen side. And I also think he's going to try to castle on the queen side as well. I definitely need to develop though. Let's start by playing pawn a4. I want to play knight a3, but I also want to play a5, a6. Because my attack is either going to be on the queen side or in the center. So bishop e6 or queen e7, bishop d7, castle. I just need to not fall for any tactics. If the pawn goes to g3, I'm probably just going to take a free pawn. Anytime he plays h3, I'm going to play g3 and I'm fine. I'm probably going to pull my bishop back to e3, just to stay safe. But I'm going to maneuver my knight first. Maybe knight to a3 to c2, then decide what I want to do. But I have to play fast. I think I don't want it to come down to who have more time or anything like that. But it's a dynamic position, so anything could happen. King to f8 makes a lot of sense. He's going to manually castle his king. Let me quickly develop my knight, not trying to get in any time pressure. Knight e7. So he's trying to maneuver the knight to g6. Okay, what if pawn d4? No. Pawn d4, there's knight g6. And then anytime I takes, there's knight takes. But I mean, he's going to play knight g6 regardless. Okay, let me get my knight off the edge of the board very quickly. I want to play knight e3, but I need to be aware of my bishop that could potentially happen. So I'm either going to be giving up my bishop for a knight so that way I can like use my knights properly, or I'm going to pull my bishop back and then try to put my knight on b4. It's weird. So pawn c6, pawn to... I'm not expecting him to play pawn d5 actually. But let's see. Let me just pull the bishop back just in case. Let me just pull the bishop back just in case. I'm trying not to play too slow. I'm not sure what to do with this bishop though. Do I pull it back or do I take? Because if I take the bishop and give him the bishop here, then I don't want to open the position. All right, maybe, okay, so let's play pawn to a5. Just get some more space on the queen side. Maybe I could just put the knight on b4 and leave it there. Maybe I could also play a6. A6 is probably going to take though. Or knight b4, a6. Because then if he ever plays c5, I have knight to d5. That's a plan. Still not sure what to do with the dark squared bishop, but hopefully something presents itself. For example, if he plays a6, oh, he sacrificed a pawn. Oh, it's not a sacrifice. It is a sacrifice. Let's take the pawn. What is this guy doing? Oh, it's a trick. If I takes, queen takes, bishop h6. Backside. Okay, so I have to do something about my bishop now. Takes. Okay, let's take. If he takes, this is also under attack, so I have to be careful. If I takes, there's bishop h6. Didn't see that. I'm trying to push, but if I push takes, maybe pawn d4 here. Pawn d4. Yeah, let's go pawn d4. It's getting very hot now. If he takes, I take, and after queen takes, I takes. I'm expecting the pawns to start coming up. But one important thing that I want you guys to keep in mind is notice how I'm not moving the pawns around my king. I'm actually waiting on him to make contact with my pawns before I start moving them. But another thing that I want you guys to keep in mind is because he's attacking on the king side, I'm going to try to counter attack in the center of the board. So that's the reason why I play d4, because I want to play e5 and just go crazy, basically. But let's see. My a5 pawn is slightly hanging, but if he takes my a pawn, he loses his f pawn. So I'm probably expecting bishop to h6, and then I'm most likely going to play a6, and I'm assuming he's going to take. Nah, I'm gonna play e5 without even thinking about it. I'm gonna play e5, hit the knight. Wherever the knight goes, I'm gonna play e6, and I'm not gonna think about it because I know that I have to open the center of the board. And I mean, his king is somewhat in the center of the board, anyways. It's not safe. But whose king is safer here? I really can't tell. The good thing is, I'm now ahead by 1 minute on the clock. That's huge at this level. So pawn to d5, I can't push. If I push, I'm kind of closing the position. And then knight e4 is just very good for him. So let's just take. I have to take without thinking about it. The good thing is, f4, if I take on f4, there is still bishop h6, unfortunately. Rook to e5, I really like. I like rook e5. I don't know why I want to play a6 so badly though. The idea of knight b4 to target d5 is also nice. Rook e5 takes hit the knight, and once the knight moves, I should be able to take on f4. That's definitely something. Rook e5, if he moves the okay, let's go rook e5. Rook e5, bishop f5. Rook e5, bishop f5. Take the bishop. Bishop h6. Maybe not rook to e5. Maybe. Okay, let's go knight b4 first. Let's apply some pressure to his d pawn first, because rook e5, bishop f5 looks like something. His f4 pawn is hanging, but I'm just not able to take it just yet. That's the thing. There's knight d3, which also targets f4. I think he's gonna play f3 very soon though. But the thing I want to, the moment I play rook e5, I wanted to immediately attack his pawn on d5. Okay, so we finally see bishop h6, which means f3 will be attacking my queen. There's one to attack because there's two defenders. Rook e5, pawn f3 hits the queen. Then I just need to put my queen somewhere. If he takes, I go knight e3. Hmm. Or do I play queen d1, pawn f3, queen d1? Yeah, let me just get my queen though. Wait, push, push, takes, check. Oh, there's knight block. Yeah, I don't want to waste too much time thinking. So let's just play queen to d1. Maybe queen to b1, queen a2, hit the d pawn. But rook e5 is the plan. If pawn f3, I'm probably still going to play rook e5. And if he takes, I play knight e3, and then his d pawn is just going to be targeted. How is his time higher than mine? I thought I was ahead by a minute. That's crazy. Thing about chess is, like, once you calculate a variation, if you find yourself calculating that variation again, then that's how you're going to be losing on time. Okay, bishop e6 makes a lot of sense. He's guarding the pawn. Rook e5. Do I quickly play rook e5? Push, push, knight. Let's play a6 first. Rook e5 is promising, but I'm not sure. Let's play a6. I'm expecting b6. There's some knight c6 to e5 idea, so maybe my knight could get to e5, but I think my knight on b4 is doing a very good role. Okay, after b6, rook e5, I'm just gonna play the position like that. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but I think it applies pressure to his position. And if he plays b6, he's gonna always have to be thinking about the knight going to c6, and I'm not gonna put the knight on c6, so that way he burns his time. I just don't want to fall for any tactics. But once all your pieces are protected, you're not going to be falling for any tactics. Rook e5, nice. It's good when as soon as the opponent makes a move, you immediately make your move. Like you save so much time doing that. And they also burn time because they're like, damn, he knows what he's doing, you know? So I'm actually threatening to take, no, damn, I'm not threatening anything. I thought I was threatening to take, win the pawn. I'm probably going to just leave this knight as a defensive piece. What's the plan though? I don't know what the plan is, but I'm not losing. So let's just work with that for now. Bishop to g5 makes some sense. If I takes, that doesn't do much. One, two, three attackers, one, two, three defenders. Let's quickly play queen to d3. Queen d3 is not a blunder, and I'm probably threatening queen to b5 to add more attackers to this pawn on d5. That's the plan. Like, the way how I blundered last time was I was not aware of the opponent's captures or the opponent's forcing moves. So any possible, okay, that's not bad, knight e4. Is this guy really trying to trap my rook? Wait, one, two, three attackers, one, two defenders. What is this? Isn't this a pawn? One, two, three, one, two. Take it the rook. Because he's also playing fast. Take it the rook. If the bishop takes it the queen, and his knight is hanging. Don't think about it too much, bro. Just take and attack the rook. That's all you need to do. He could take and I take back. What else does he have? He could attack my rook, but his rook and let's just do it quickly. Let's just do it quickly. Did I miss anything? No, because he's still thinking. Very nice. We're ahead by a pawn. All right, so he made a blunder because his time was running out. So if he takes, I'm actually thinking of playing knight takes, so that way his knight is under attack twice. If he takes and knight takes, I'm hitting the queen, but there is probably queen e. If takes, if the queen goes to either e8 or e7, there's rook back to e5, and that's a fork. So if takes up, but then there's knight d6. But I'm just ahead by a pawn though. I'm just ahead by a pawn. Let's go. I'm ahead by a pawn. I'm ahead by a minute. I'm not losing this game. I'm expecting takes, knight d6. That's what I'm expecting. And I can also... Damn, I did not see that move. What did he see that I didn't? Okay, my queen is under attack. But what though? Take the knight. What did he see that I didn't see? Okay, let's just find out. Let's just find out. Let's take. I'm now ahead by a piece. Check. Okay. Do I take? No. Let's just pull the king back. Let's just pull the king back. And if he takes, I play knight takes. I'm ahead by a piece, by the way. So him doing all of this is kind of crazy. Plus his rook is under attack. I'm threatening his bishop. This is pinned. He plays ace, h3. He's sacking his rook. What? Okay, take the rook. If he, oh, if takes, no, if takes, queen takes, there's d5. So I'm chill. If takes, check, knight takes, queen takes, there's always d5. Why am I scared? Come on, just take. Let's do it. Takes. If he takes, there's knight takes. If he takes here first, the same bishop is coming back. Oh God, he blundered. I'm not gonna play king takes, bro. I'm gonna use the bishop. The same bishop comes back. I'm ahead by 8 points. So if I have to sacrifice some material, I'm gonna be able to afford it. So pawn takes comes with check. And you know what the funny thing is? Do I want to take or do I want to play king h1? Because if I play king h1, then my king is just so safe thanks to his pawn. King h1, pawn f3, I just take. Let's go king h1. Good. I think he just saw that he was about to lose and then decided to start sacrificing everything, which just doesn't work. I'm ahead by 7 points. I'm expecting resignation pretty soon. This has to be completely winning for white. And I'm ahead by a minute. So queen b7 was played. Not sure why. Maybe he wants to put a piece on the h3 square. I need to get more pieces in the game. Maybe I just need to sacrifice my rook. I don't want to be too selfish. Because if the bishop, what is wrong with me? If the bishop comes to h3, then there's nothing because my queen just needs to guard it, or my rook. So the move has to be rook to e1, just bring more pieces in the game. If bishop h3, there's rook e2, there's no pawn f3 because of queen takes f3. So bishop h3, if I takes, there's rook takes, queen f5. Oh, it has no checks. That is so fortunate. If takes, rook takes, queen f5, and the queen has no checks on my king. Can't check here, can't check here, can't check here, which means it's a fork, and he has to trade the pieces off the board, which means he's gonna resign. Because if you're ahead by, if you're behind by 7 points and you can't trade anything, queen f5, good game. He's about to resign. Definitely gonna resign here. Okay, let's take, hit the bishop. Rook is not doing much. He guarded the bishop. Um, okay. No, don't sack, bro. Why you keep on trying to sack? Okay, let's play knight d5, hit the pawn. Knight d5, hit the pawn. And then I'm just going to take it the rook. So the rook moves. Let's take it the rook. He has no checks. I'm threatening to check here. The rook is under attack. He moves the rook here. This is a discovered attack. Then, oh no, I check here. Not giving him anything. It's over. Then I take. He lost everything. Okay, how do we checkmate? Let's go rook here. Okay, let's play here and take here. It's over. I don't know why he's not resigning. That's crazy. Check. King has to go here, and that's a checkmate. All right, our opponent is 2504. It's always something playing against the 2500s, and they always play the Sicilian defense, and they always play the Nadorf variation of the Sicilian. A6, bishop e3, e5, knight b3. Oh, e6. E6 is the Chevin engine. I'm not really sure how to do this, but I usually just play f4. I usually just do it, but I'm not 100% fully theoretically inclined here, but I could hold my own. Queen to f3 comes with the idea of castling on the queen side. And then I'm trying to play moves like pawn g4, pawn g5 to start an attack on the king side. Like, that's my idea. I don't really know it deeply, but that's what I'm working with. Now, I'm playing against a 2500. So these guys are usually fast and accurate at the same time. We got a draw. We got a win. It's not going to be a loss. I promise you, it's not going to be a loss. But I'm just going to play the first few moves very quickly. Like, I'm not going to try to play too fast, but I don't want to be overthinking. So I'm just going to castle on the next move and then play g4 quickly. Okay, now that he plays b5, it's a bit tricky because the bishop is going to b7, which means my pawn on e4 is going to be under attack. And then a knight is also coming to c5. If I play e5 to hit the knight, there's bishop b7. Takes, hit the queen, there's bishop takes. And then I hit the queen again, he takes. Hit the queen again, he checks. Yeah, check is gonna help. Check is definitely gonna help. What if I do it now? Check still gonna help. What if I castle though? Castle is so risky, it's crazy. Castle, b4, maybe knight here and bishop here. All right, let's do bishop d3 first to guard e4. And afterwards, I'm going to be thinking about castling. All right, so bishop b7, knight d7 to c5. He has two attackers. I have three defenders. Pawn b4 is a possibility. Question is, where do I castle? Castling on the king side is very safe. Castling on the queen side is very aggressive. Um, where do I castle? Queen side. Do I play queen side castle? Yo, I don't care anymore. Queenside castle it is. I don't care. We're going for the aggressive one. So knight d7 to c5 is coming because there's two attackers, there's three defenders. So sometimes I need to play a3 to prevent b4. If pawn b4, yeah, I'm not really sure where to put the knight if pawn b4. So let's just play pawn to a3, which is kind of weird because we should not be pushing pawns on the side that our king is on. And now I'm allowing some sacrificial. Oh, actually, pawn d5, bishop takes a3 is kind of deadly. If pawn d5, okay, let's calm down. My queen is on the same diagonal as his bishop, which is sometimes, most times, not good. So knight b6, maybe the knight is going to c4, maybe. If the knight goes to c4, I'm probably just gonna take. If he ever push, I'm gonna take. I'm not gonna sack. Pawn to g4 followed by g5, I like. Pawn g4, knight d5. Pawn g4, pawn d5, I take. Takes, takes, takes. Oh, that's good for him. Pawn g4, pawn d5, pawn g5, knight e4. Okay, let's go for that. Pawn g4, knight g4. Okay, let's go pawn g4. I'm trying to be the player who plays the aggressive moves. Because the moment... Wait. Okay, immediate knight c4 I was not expecting. He's threatening to take on a3. He's also threatening to take my bishop. So let's just take the knight, giving up a bishop for a knight. Queen takes. There is some possibilities of him playing pawn b4. There's no knight takes e4 though. So let's play pawn g5, hit the knight, which means my e4 pawn is very safe because I'm expecting his knight to go back to d7. And the question is, what do we do here? I cannot really chase out his queen. And if I play, maybe I need to sacrifice maybe queen g4 with the idea of, oh, but then his queen guards the square. Maybe I just need to play queen e2 actually. Yeah, let's go. Queen e2 is a queen e2 is a coward move, but I am not seeing what else to do. Yeah, let's go queen e2. If he takes, I just take back and play knight g3. And it's just going to be a chess game from there. The weird thing, though, is he has the bishop pair. I'm not comfortable with the fact that he has the bishop pair, but I cannot play too slow. So if he takes, I takes, knight c5, knight g3, guard my pawn. It's just a chess game. Maybe he has rook c8. Yeah, rook c8 is or immediate knight c5. Damn. Do not tell me that I'm about to lose a pawn. Do I have to put the nah? If I takes, takes. How do I miss these little details, man? Look, if I have to put the queen on f3, then might as well I resign. Because that's just wasting time. Queen f3, pawn b4 takes, queen takes. But if I takes, I'm losing a pawn. That's the thing. Rook e1, takes. Okay, let's just do it. Rook e1, I if he takes, I'm gonna try maybe knight a4. Yeah, let's play knight a4 with the idea of knight b6, but then he has pawn d5. Okay, pawn d5, pawn f5, pawn e5, knight f3, pawn d5, knight here, rook moves. Yeah, I'm gonna play pawn f5 next. I don't know if it works, but I have to complicate the position. He not only has the bishop here, but he also has an extra pawn. The good thing is, if Magnus Carlsen was playing with the white pieces, he still would have won being down a pawn. So all hope is not lost. So pawn d5, pawn f5, I'm expecting pawn e5. And then, no, if pawn e5, there's knight f3 followed by knight b6. I'm hitting this, so what is he going to play here? Pawn e5, I go knight f3. It's actually a bit tricky. I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm winning, obviously, but it's actually a bit tricky. I have to play fast though. So pawn e5, knight f3 hits the pawn. I'm threatening, so I'm basically threatening to take this pawn, and I'm also threatening to play knight b6 hits the rook. Oh, but if knight b6, there's rook d8. Yes. I thought the rook couldn't go to d8 because of this. So he just needs to play bishop d6 or something. No, not bishop d6, pawn f6. If bishop d6, then knight b6. So maybe pawn f6 takes, pawn takes, and he's very safe. Pawn f6. I want to play fast. It's the only thing I have. Have to try to win on time. Pawn f6, I play pawn h4 very quickly. I can't think about it. I have nothing else. Because if knight b6, there's rook to d8. And this is just guarded. So f6, h4. Let's not think about it. I'm ahead by 1 minute. Let's not think. Maybe knight d2 to get this knight out of my half. Oh boy, there's also pawn d4. Where are these pawns coming from though? Wait, pawn d4, stick a pin. What if I take the pawn? If I take the pawn, I'm down by a piece, but if he takes, I play knight d2 and I'm winning back the piece because the knight is pinned. If I takes, however, what if he just moves the knight somewhere? Yeah, if he moves the knight somewhere, I move my knight somewhere because his pawn is gonna be pinned. Let's try it. We just have to try it. If I'm winning back the pawn, I could win this game. If he takes knight d2 and I don't know. If he takes knight d2, applies pressure to the pinned knight, and I'm gonna win back the knight. So he's not gonna take. The good thing is there's no knight moves where anywhere he puts the knight, my knight is gonna be under attack. But if he move his knight, I move my knight. Or he move his knight, I sacrifice my knight. Knight g3, takes, bishop takes, and then the rook is on the same line as the king, and his knight is under attack. It's a lot happening. Yo, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know how to feel about this. It looks like he missed it because he's thinking. He has 3 minutes on the clock. I have 4.5 minutes on the clock. I have to be fast. Okay, so let's try to predict his next move. Maybe rook d. If rook d8, I just hit the rook, I guess. I mean, I'm trying to sacrifice. So knight g3 was played. Let's sacrifice on e5. Knight takes c5, pawn takes c5, check, nah. Takes, bishop takes. That's the plan. Takes on e5, pawn takes c5, bishop takes c5. I'm attacking the knight. What if he moves the knight away? If he moves the knight away, I take on g7, and that's a discovered attack, and I win the rook. If I take, if he take, yo, I'm winning. How am I so good at this game? I takes. This king is just too exposed. Let's go for it. Let's take. I'm ahead by a pawn now. Then I take, hit the knight, and I'm threatening this. I forgot about knight e4. Fudge. Wait. Shoot. Wait. Knight c3. Knight c3. Knight takes c. Yeah, this has to be good. Knight c3. Knight c3. Bishop takes. Check. And then once he moves, I take. I don't know if it works, but let's play fast. Or knight b6 hits the rook. Knight b6. Rook d8. Maybe rook d4. What am I down by? A piece? So rook d4 takes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Knight c3. Let's go knight c3. Let's go with knight c3. If he takes on c3, oh my God, I'm too good. I'm just too good. It's crazy. Like, I don't understand. Because if knight takes c3, I don't take on g7. I play bishop takes c3, check. If he blocks with the bishop, bishop e5 applies pressure to the pinned bishop. If he plays king to f7, rook to d7 is check. How do I find these quality moves? He's ahead by 1 point. But if king goes to f7, there's rook d7, and that's a fork. If bishop e5, there's bishop e4. That's the only move. I told you I was going to win this game. I told you I was going to win this game. Too strong. Bishop e7, there's also pawn to f6, which applies pressure to the bishop. There's also bishop takes g7, which hits the rook. And then once the rook moves, then I play f6. I don't want to be too fancy though, to be to be honest. Like, I just want to win back my piece. Pawn to f6. No, let's take. Take hit the rook. Take hit the rook. Rook moves. Bishop back to f6. And then there's no rook g7. Take hit the rook. The king is not able to get castled. So we take it the rook. Take it the rook. Yeah, let's take it the rook. Let's. Oh no! If king f7, there's rook d7. He's attacking my bishop, right? Rook to d7 hits his bishop. If he takes my bishop, I take his bishop, check, and I take another bishop. Or I take his rook. Because if I take his rook and he takes back, rook d7 is a fork. Like you see? I'm ahead by 5 points. He's gonna resign. Watch. Listen. Okay, he's not resigning. I'm ahead by 5 points. Let's just maybe bishop f6 or pawn f6. No, bishop f6 takes. Yeah, let's go bishop f6. If takes, king takes, there's rook e6. I don't know. I told you. I told you I was gonna win this game. Bishop c5. Just one more scaredy move. One more. Just one more move. I think he's trying to win on time now. I'm ahead by 5 points. If I lose this, please unsubscribe to my channel. Push, takes. If king takes, pawn e6 check, king move, I take on g6. It's like the tactics are just flowing. It's what Bobby Fischer says. Tactics flows from a superior position. Okay, do we? Oh, pawn g7. Pawn g7. If bishop takes, I play rook g1 and I'm pinning his bishop. It's like he thinks I'm going to take and then trade and la la la. No, sir. Oh, if rook g1, there's no rook a7 to guard the bishop because my bishop covers the a7 square. No, he's gonna resign. Okay, he's not resigning. Let's just take, check, maybe king up. Um, let's play here, double up the rooks. I'm threatening this, I'm threatening this, I'm threatening this. So rook to f8 was played. Check, check, king up. Or do I check here? Check, king has to go here, and that's a checkmate, Mr. 2500. So once he puts the king on h5, that's just a checkmate.